Now, today we are discussing on Ohm's law. As we all know that the Ohm's law is a basic law that is required in your electrical engineering. And in this Ohm's law, we are going to take three parameters. One is current, which is indicated as I, and the voltage V, and the third is your resistance. I'm going to give the relation between the current, voltage, and the resistance. That is nothing but it is a Ohm's law. Suppose if I want to give a definition, what do you mean by Ohm's law? Oh, exactly. Where exactly it is applicable? Which all the circuit it is applicable, which is not applicable. This is what we are going to study in this particular topic. So coming to this, as we know that Ohm's law, which gives the relation between the current, voltage, and the resistance of any given DC circuits. Okay, it states that whenever the current flowing through an electric circuit, which is directly proportional to the voltage or the potential difference across the circuit, and it is inversely proportional to the resistance offered by the circuit by providing the temperature remains constant throughout the system. So this is the definition of your Ohm's law. So mathematically, if you want to give the relation, the current is directly proportional to voltage and the current is inversely proportional to its resistance. So if we want to measure 1 ohms or 1 ohms of resistance or 1 voltage of the voltage, so here we are going to have the direct relation. Even the same formula we can rewrite as V is equals to I into R. Means whatever the potential difference that will be induced between 2 points, that is basically because of the current which is flowing from one point to the other point, the current which is flowing from one point to the other point, and the next is the resistance offered by that particular circuit. Okay, this is about the Ohm's law. Coming to the limitations. What are the limitations of Ohm's law? As we have come up with one particular law, where and all it is applicable, where it is not applicable. This is what we are going to discuss in this particular topic. Limitations of Ohm's law. The limitations of Ohm's law, first point when we consider, the first one is it is not applicable for non-linear devices. Non-linear devices, it may be a diode or it may be a xenodiodes or it may be voltage regulators or it may be a rectifiers. So we have several devices wherein it works for AC or DC component, wherein these devices, wherein it won't give a linear variation with the parameters. Suppose if I consider the variation of current and voltage in the diode, it won't be linear. Or with variation of time, with respect to variation of time, the voltage or the current parameter, it will be completely non-variable. Okay, or it is non-linear in nature. Hence, this Ohm's law it is not applicable for non-linear devices like diodes, xenodiodes, voltage regulators, etc. And the second is it's not holds good for non-metallic conductors. Non-metallic conductor means we have to apply this Ohm's law only for good conductors. It is not a semiconductors or it may be a non-metallic conductor, something like insulators. Or if you consider a non-metallic conductor such as it may be a silicon carbide, okay, all these materials wherein it does not have the what is that probability of we can't give the relation between the voltage and the current directly, hence it is not applicable for non-metallic conductor. The next limitation is Ohm's law cannot apply for arc lamps. Arc lamp means it can't be applied for welding purpose or it can't be applied for arcing. Okay, or it may be for lamps wherein we have the variation of temperature. See, as I told you, one parameter like Ohm's law it is applicable only for the constant temperature. In the arc lamp, the temperature it goes on varying. Hence, it is not applicable there. The fourth one is it's not holds good for temperature rise in rapid in some metals. Suppose if I consider a metal wherein if you are using that particular metal for a conduction purpose, when you start using prolongly for a longer time, the temperature gradually goes on increasing. If there is an increase gradually in the temperature where the temperature is not maintained constant, Under that condition, for such a conductors, we can't apply Ohm's law. We can't apply Ohm's law. So this is one of the drawbacks that we can see in this particular Ohm's law. But other than this parameters, all other conducting or the conductor materials, it is applicable with the Ohm's law. Coming to the next, we can go with the applications of Ohm's law. Where and all we can use Ohm's law. As you all know that we should use Ohm's law, right? So we can use this Ohm's law for both AC and DC circuits. As I'm discussing a topic on DC circuits, even though I'm discussing this Ohm's law in the DC circuits, but it is applicable even for AC circuits also. AC is nothing but an alternating current. DC is nothing a direct current. So Ohm's law is applicable for both AC as well as DC circuits. And the next application is the Ohm's law. It can be applied for a simple circuits or it may be for a complex circuit. So yes, it can be applied for both the circuits here. And the third is the Ohm's law I can apply for a small portion of the circuit or it can be a complete part of the circuit. Assume that you have a complex planning or a complex circuit. You have one particular layout wherein it has huge number of components which are connected, electric components. There, if you want to apply Ohm's law, you can apply for a small portion or even you can apply for a larger portion also. So it is not mandatory like once if you apply Ohm's law, it should be applicable for the entire circuit. No, wherein where you require the Ohm's law to be applicable, you can apply that particular part and the remaining part you can leave as such and you can carry further. So these are some of the applications of Ohm's law. Coming to the next topic, it is series circuits. In the circuits, we have two types of circuits. One is series circuits and the other one is parallel circuits. Series circuit means nothing. All the components will be connected in series. Either I can consider what is it, passive components or it may be active components. So what do you mean by passive components? Generally in this module you are going to discuss only with the passive components. So passive components are nothing but resistor, inductor and capacitor. So if I consider any of the components which are connected in series, which are connected next to each other, hence it is said to be a series circuit. Here is the diagram where it shows you have three resistors R1, R2 and R3. All these three resistors are connected in series. Right. So I have given the supply voltage. One DC source voltage I have given at the one particular end and this DC voltage source, this DC voltage source positive terminal it is connected to one end of the resistor, other end of the resistor it is interconnected and it makes a complete circuit. As we all know that according to the EMF equation, whatever the potential it is moving, given the current, it will be flowing in the same direction, right? When it comes to this resistor, what is the job of the resistor? The resistor which opposes the flow of charges, right? Which opposes the flow of current. So this resistor, it has its own value which opposes the current, and similarly, it opposes. So when it opposes the current, obviously the current into its resistance value, then there will be a voltage drop. So the voltage V1 will be different. Similarly, R2, across R2, again the small amount of voltage it will be different. Across R3, the V3 will be different. So in the series circuit, the voltage at each and every terminal it will be varying because it is connected in series. But the current remains same because the same amount of current it will flow through R1, R2, R3. There is no division of current here. There is no division of current. Hence, it is said to be a, you can give the relation for the voltage, the total voltage V is equals to V1 plus V2 plus V3, where the current I will be equal to the current across all the resistors, right? So when we write, what do you mean by V? V is nothing but I'll apply Ohm's law here. V is equals to I into R. If I take V1, then it will be I into R1, V2 I into R2, V3 I into R3. Hence you can say that I can take a common term here. It is I. I will take a common term and I will take this as R equivalent. Right. So what is this V? I have V in the LHS side. I will take I to the left side. V by I. Again apply Ohm's law. R is equals to V by I. R is equals to V by I. Hence, this is nothing but your resistance. So in a series circuit, In a series circuit, if they give n number of resistors which is connected in series, and if they ask you to find out the total resistance or the equivalent resistance of the circuit, you can just simply add up all the resistance and you can give the total resistance. You can give the total resistance. This is a point you have to remember. Thank you.